I'm sure you've seen the screenshots of people claiming they have HIV. They're spreading out there to people deliberately. We have Kemunto. They were making confessions in her DM, and then she was sharing the screenshots of people there, hiding the ID of those people. Anyway, we're going to go through some of the screenshots, and we try to see whether we have any basis, because some of them are just, okay, I don't want to preempt this. You'll have to forgive about the environment I'm in. You might get some background noise and also the echo from the room I'm in, and the writing is not the best because I'm not in my own place. So I came across these ones and I felt that, yeah, we need to react to them because this squarely falls into my department. Now, we're talking about HIV, how it's being spread. There's several things that you need to understand. One, yes, we have people who are out there, and by the way, this can take two shapes. We have the first one where we have people who are deliberately giving out HIV because they're just doing this for revenge. They got it from someone, so they're trying to spread to as many people as possible. We also have a chance where this might be just, what do you call this? A reverse psychology campaign, whereby, if you remember from last year, we had very high incidences of HIV. Incidences are just new occasions, new transmission of HIV. So we had so many of them last year. So maybe it might be there is someone behind that, and they are trying to create that awareness and fear in people so that when they go out there, they try to, as much as possible, to be accountable for their health, because HIV is out there and you have people with motives. And there are several things that you need to understand. That yes, we have people, we have ladies who are out there, they are just using this for financial support. They are using this as a business. So if you pay them, it's upon you to choose what you want. You pay more expensively and go with them raw. Now, also, there's something I want you to understand, that yes, we have drugs that you can use beforehand. We call them PrEPs. So you just swallow those drugs and you're going to be protected from that infection. Okay, it's not 100% way of protecting yourself. You just need to abstain and not go out there and have unprotected sex. You can increase also the chances of protecting yourself by using a condom on top of having a PrEP. Now, in addition to that, we have PEPs. These are usually emergency based, meaning, for example, you didn't actually know that you are getting exposed. Maybe it was an accident, like a rape case, or maybe you got exposed and then you came to learn later that that person is HIV positive. Before 72 hours are over, you can take what we call PEP, and this one are going to prevent the attachment of the HIV viruses into the cells, because that's how the infection usually establishes itself. So by doing that, you make sure that you're not getting that infection. Also, when it comes to a point where you are infected by HIV and you already have that HIV in your body, one thing you can do is to take ARVs. What they do is they reduce the numbers of the HIV copies to the lowest possible number, meaning that you're not going to get or to proceed to AIDS, you're not going to get opportunistic infections, and also you're going to reduce chances of you transmitting this infection to other people, and you're going to live any other person's life, very normal life. Now, there's something else you need to understand. We also have other people in the society, very tiny population, that cannot get HIV because they have that mutation. There is something we call the gate. I have a video on this. I think if I remember, I'll try to put it here, a link to that video, but you can check that video. Why we have people who cannot get HIV. There are very few, and you're not even sure that you're among them. So yes, you can have people in the society who are just going out there and they never get HIV. At the same time, we have people who are out there and they take really long before they get to test positive. Yes, they still have HIV, and at the same time, they can transmit that infection to other people. So they are called carriers. I put them in quote because at the end of the day, at some point, they are going to show the signs, or maybe they are going to get to AIDS, and this is what we fear. That's why you take ARVs. Something else you need to understand is, yes, you can be having HIV, you are taking drugs to a point where now you have very few copies, you reduce the chances of transmitting that to other people. Also, something else I want you to understand is, yes, you might be having HIV and you want to go for a revenge mission. We have HIV, and the reason why we don't have drugs is because HIV usually mutate at a very huge rate. So you might end up, yes, you are going out there, you are sharing and spreading, you end up getting someone else. You, in the aim of spreading to them, you get them, they already have that and they have an aggressive strain. So it gets into your system. So you now have two strains of HIV in you, and it might be aggressive as well. So you might might end up even changing the regime of the ARVs that you're using, or if you're not using any drugs, it might take you to sooner. So you might die sooner because of the pathological effects. You have 2 strains, it becomes even harder to treat them. Anyway, that was also me trying to scare them. It's not actually scaring, it's something that is true. We have so much mutations. By then, I'm recording in a very noisy place. This is not my usual place, I'm sure you've noted. So you might get echo. Also, the lighting is not the best that you can get, in as much as I usually don't have the best. That this is very worse. I can even hear myself talking, so yeah, definitely going to get the echo, but then just try to get the messages as it's coming. I'm sure you can just get me. Anyway, let's just rush through most of them. I've gone through most of them, and I think if I'm going to skip any, or if you have any, or even a confession, maybe something you want to clarify for me, you can just DM me in any of the platforms. I'm everywhere, so you can just go, even if it's X, the Twitter, or Instagram, or Facebook, or TikTok, or maybe even you can in I think there's no DM when it comes to YouTube, so you can just tell me in those other areas, or maybe you can WhatsApp me. There's a number I have on my Facebook. You can just go and WhatsApp. Calling will not work because most of the time I usually don't pick anything from that phone, so I usually just pick WhatsApp. Anyway, this is bearing in mind what we've talked about. Let's go through some of the screenshots. One here is talking about a person, they're in a group of. See, this is actually confusing. You can just read through, because this one I didn't actually understand whether it's a lady, it's a group of ladies, or maybe it's a group of men, and what are they actually doing. Maybe you can read and tell me in the comment region what they actually mean. I'm HIV positive. As I'm typing this, and I infected 16 guys from Waka, and I'm telling them they refuse to use, saying that I'm too beautiful. 5 are married, the rest in bachelors. So 11 are bachelors and 5. Okay, bachelors are actually even worse, because here they might be having several girlfriends and they are transmitting this to them. For the 5 years, it's also worse, because you don't know how many other these married men have. Maybe they have more affairs out there. Also, they have wives. Maybe the wife is having an affair. You can see the bedroom they are talking about. Nairobi is a one big bedroom. So I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, one thing you have to understand is yes, in as much as you are infecting other people, you might also be getting strains from other people who are HIV positive, because you're not sure. You cannot tell, in as much you said you yourself that you cannot tell. They're saying that she's too beautiful to be HIV positive, which is one other thing people usually use. You look healthy, so they suspect you're not having HIV. HIV does not actually, nowadays, you can even not tell someone with HIV. Yeah. So hiyo nasema 16. Mine is one of them, and why I'm fighting this meds kwa nyumba na hajawahi kuwa hivi. Now, one thing you have to understand is once you have a terminal illness which is infectious, you need to disclose that to your partner. If you're going to have sex with them, you need to make sure that you tell them, because in Kenya, you can be sued if you knew that you have HIV by knowing it. For example, you're taking ARVs, it means that you have HIV and you know that. We also have instances where, yes, you are tested, there is a proof that there's a result, and you knew that you are HIV positive, and then if that other person, if your partner can be able to claim or to prove to the court that they never knew and you never disclosed with them, then this can be something suable. You can be sued. Hapa kuna groups mbili, kuna moja iko Ruaka, kuna ingine iko Kiamburu, they're friends, and she's saying that those people who are, maybe those who are spreading HIV knowingly, those who are even using money, they can even buy you cars and all that, and they're saying that yeah, they might also be having dark forces. I don't know about those, but I'm concerned about the infections. And by then, as much as we're talking about HIV, you have other infections which are way even, okay, let's say worse. Like take, for example, hepatitis. This one is one of those that are not, they are overlooked, in my opinion. If you get hepatitis and you so discover about them very late, it means that your liver is going down, and you're going down with your liver. So it's very important to, if you are going to get a partner, screen for every possible disease you can get. You see, HPV, which is human papilloma virus, that usually cause genital warts and even warts on the skin. That one, once you get that, it's not going anywhere. That infection, it will stay in your body. We also have HSV, herpes simplex virus. This one is also viral infection. Once you get that, it doesn't go away. You still have those. You're going to be having the episodes every now and then. So it's very important for you to make sure that you screen your partner, your new partner, every way possible. Wanakupea handi giri 100, ukicheza poa, ambia madem akwe smart. Yeah, mostly this usually affect ladies, and you see, we have those that usually treat this as business, and they are easily lured by money. So if you just give them someone 100,000, so they're so willing to do anything that you, even if you want them to be a goro. Like I said, we have 3 drugs. You can use them. You can use drugs before you get exposed. You can use drugs after getting exposed. You can use drugs once you get infected. So perhaps you use them before you get exposed. And I'm not telling you to misuse the drugs. They're there for a reason. They're there to mitigate some of the things that can happen, and they are, yeah, you can anticipate something happening, but then you cannot control. And also we have PEPs, and I prefer using that when it comes to an emergency, because most other things you can be able to prevent them. If, for example, maybe you are totally drunk, you had sex, you never knew, you can then trace the person to get tested. So the best thing is just go have PEPs. Or if maybe there was a rape case involved, or maybe you were in an accident, for example, it was an accident and you came into contact with blood, and maybe you also had cuts. So it's very important for you. We have very, very unique scenarios where you should take PEPs. Otherwise, you have people who are just misusing this. So you just go and expose yourself deliberately and you start taking PEPs. One thing you have to understand is PEPs and even PrEPs, they are ARV, so they are antiretroviral drugs. So in case you're misusing that, in case it comes to a point where you have actual HIV, you're not going to start with regime 1. You might have a higher regime of the drug. So you might go even to several steps higher instead of starting with the simplest one going upward. Now, one thing you have to understand is, yes, you can be negative, and you know that you're negative. Yes, totally, because we have people in the society, tiny population, tiny, very small number, very minute, that cannot get HIV, because we have entry points into your cells that HIV usually use. So them, they don't have that, meaning that they cannot get HIV from any means, even if you inject them with HIV. But then, how do you know that you have that? You know, you have another category of people who, yes, they are going to be positive, but then they are going to stay with that infection and they can transmit other people. And they're going to stay for really long before they start showing the signs or even testing positive. So their body stays with that disease for a little, okay, it's not a disease, but this means that infection for really long before they start showing positive results. So they can even stay for even 3 years before they show any sign. So we call them carriers in quotes, because they have that and they can transmit that to people without them knowing. Also, we have stages where, for example, during the Windows period, where you cannot tell whether you have the infection, your body is unaware of the infection, but you can still transmit. You are very infectious at this stage. And yeah, so it doesn't mean that you are HIV negative. You get tested also, and the test I would recommend you, we have ELISA, which is very sensitive, and also we have PCR, which can be able to detect HIV infection within some very few days. Okay, mwacha nicheke tu juu ni jana nimeambiwa ninunue PEPs ama ndo PrEPs after 72 hours zimeisha. Huyu mbwa amenipea ugonjwa akitaka na mimi hata sitalia, lakini nao hii Nairobi mtakipata. Now you are supposed to take PEPs, not PrEPs. PEPs before 72 hours are over after the exposure. Now, after they just get out, it's the same as using P2 or any other emergency pills. You'll have to make it closer to the activity as possible. If you are exposed, maybe let's say tonight, then make sure that by tomorrow you have the drug. Make it as soon as possible. Just rush to the nearest hospital. And yeah, now it's also, I'm going to place this squarely as your fault, because why did you get to meet that person with HIV and you never used protection? So you could have taken the initiative of making sure that you're safe before you even indulge in anything. Anyway, we go. I'm among the 11 camps, and by the way, before you get to another screenshot, now we have instances when, yes, you are taking ARVs and you've been taking them for long, to a point where even the antibodies are reduced very, 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 very low, to a point where you can even test negative. We have extremely few cases of the same. So yes, they are there, but they are very few, extremely few. You can be negative because you are taking ARVs. Also, there is a myth I want to debunk, that you take Piriton or take painkillers before going for the test and you test negative. That will never happen. Actually, I'm going to look for someone, a volunteer who is HIV positive. We try to give them painkillers or even the Piriton and test them and see whether it's going to affect anything. Anyway, okay, let's just go ahead. I'm among 11 camps, but I haven't infected yet, just about to. Anyone wanting me and they don't want to use condoms, I'm assuming that's what you meant, I'm all in. Akalilia kwa kitanda yake. Now one thing, and I'm repeating this again, is that you might think that you're going to transmit this infection to other people, the infection to other people, and you end up getting a more aggressive form of HIV because we have so many strains going out there. So you end up either changing the regime of the drugs that you're using for ARVs, or it becomes even more aggressive to a point where even the ARVs are not going to work on you, because actually even imagine having a concoction of the strains of HIV in your body. One body have several strains of HIV, it might become a little bit harder for you. Hey Kems, kuna 3 celebs huko Nairobi wako sick and they know. Mmoja tumekuwa na yeye Kems food address na tulienda Raw. Okay, mlienda Raw. Okay, I don't understand you anyway. He drives black car, KD something. Huyu ako na door. Yes, na ni generous sana. Mademu hupenda kuwa around him wakimuona, na hubai bottle save tu. Yeye kuambia he wants Raw na akupea kido kama 50k. I'm assuming it 50,000 minimum, na akushu wende peps. This is a little bit better because he will tell you that they have infected you. Now if it's a guy, chances of you getting HIV as a lady are extremely high, and we've said this is due to your anatomy and also the chances that you're going to receive most of the fluids in as much as you're going to exchange. Yes, the guy, yes, might be. We have our ladies who love money very much, so they are easily lured by the lifestyle and all those things, flashy things. We have others that are in business. They are out there to make money. So if you want to go with them, bro, they charge you higher, in as much as most of them usually use some protection in terms of, for example, the drug that we said, PrEPs and PEPs, is not sustainable. So you'll have to choose your life early enough. Try to make sure that every time you are meeting someone, just use protection. Hapo kwa ku transmit infection, me na my 2 friends na tumepeana, na we always have fun doing so. Hata sioni big deal hapo. Waambie wameze tu dawa, maisha isonge. Hey weekend tuko na new catch na tunawakula kama 3 times washike vizuri. One thing you have to understand, you can end up also getting a more aggressive strain. I think we've said that enough. You also understand. Nairobi, oh my god, yeah, I understand. Nairobi is one big bedroom which is very nasty and very okay. Yeah, just be healthy out there. Hi Diana, this is James. I hook up ladies with guys. I collect numbers from when I give out Airbnbs. The things you are saying is so true. There are almost 8 Instagram models that have slept raw with the guys I know are sick. Okay, I don't know what you mean by dick or sick. I am assuming that they are sick and doing it intentionally. They pay well, yes, but later ladies have left the cheers and you. I don't understand you. But all they mean here is we have people are out there, they're models, they're getting HIV all over because we have some few celebs here who are just dishing up, they're just giving it out there. So we have 2 things here happening. We have people getting HIV if they're getting it from this guy. We also have the guys also exposing themselves and also getting a risk of getting a more aggressive strain. I think I've said this, I think 9th time. We continue. Hiyo group imetajwa Kemunto ya kubaiwa magari na unadedi bila kuelewa ake I know of a friend's sister. It just happened about 2 weeks ago. She was bought a Mark Benz C-Class. I'm telling you, Kems, we went out to board celebrate that was last year. Viralibaiwa na leo she is gone. Now the mbaba moved on with another friend of ours. We highly suspect he's going with the same Jew. Huyu dem amekuwa mgonjwa Febs mzima, ambia city girls are quaking. Yeah, it might necessarily not be HIV only. We have so many other diseases that can be transmitted. We also have, okay, I'm not going to go that direction. We have so many diseases that can be transmitted to other people. HIV, once you discover you have HIV, you go and start taking the drugs. Yes, it gives you a very good prognosis. You end up living like another normal person. We have so many people who are living out very normal lives. Anyway, for the guys who are spreading it out there deliberately, this is very irresponsible of you. And also you also need to know that this is also your health. You can also in the aim of going out there to give people HIV, you also get something like hepatitis, which is also a very aggressive one. And once you get that, you don't treat that in time, then you die because of issues with your liver. Wacha kutushtua Kemunto, I'm sweating right now. I'm on my way kununua kit. Nimemess jana and I sense kuna vile huyo dem alikuwa msick. Manze sio poa kutuambukiza mkijua. Now one thing you have to understand, if the kit that you mean here is you go to get tested, you're going to buy those home kits. You cannot actually test positive if you have, or if you are infected. You'll have to take at least 3 weeks for everything to, even your body to respond, because you're going to test for the antibodies. So one thing you have to understand is if you're going out there, just go, if it's within 72 hours, just go get PEPs, post-exposure prophylaxis. That will work better than getting tested, because if you so happen to go and get tested and you test out to be positive, that means that you already had that HIV. Do you have a target? Let me talk personally. So far so good, we have reached that one. Nataka nifike 52 alafu niache. Na I do not care as long as they don't want condom. I don't force. Na nimemaliza. Now you see, you're also exposing yourself to many other diseases. It's not actually about HIV only. We have so many other diseases you can get. You can get syphilis, you can get gonorrhea, you can get other UTIs, you can even get the STIs, the whole panel of so many infections. You can get the hepatitis that I'm talking about here. And this one will be so much aggressive, especially when it comes to the liver. And the liver, you know, you'll have to let the liver be there resting peacefully, because you're taking ARVs. You need your liver to work on the drugs. If you are loading the liver with the drugs, and also you are also on top of that adding an infection that will come and paralyze the liver, it means you're going to even die sooner. Ukiona vielea, Kem, I'm so ready to infect these stingy married men out here. Wacha nikuwe lesson to them, iwe funzo kwa wengine. Ndakutext na real account, one pics zangu. Tell me if you would think that I'm sick. Nimepona kisonono, sasa nikapata ukedi. Now one thing you have to understand also, in as much as you're planning to infect them, you are also going to get infected with other infections that are beyond this. And like I said, if you're going to strain your liver, you might as well just sit down and just let the liver just help you when it comes to ARVs. But you going out there infecting other people, you have the same exposure rate. In as much as you know that you're spreading HIV, you can also acquire something else that will be even more dangerous than what you have, or you get a combination that will be so destructive to your health. So one thing I would advise you is just sit down and take care of your health. That would be the best thing that you can do to yourself. Kuna Subaru boys hapa Roka na Kiamburo, di waambie kama wamewaenda Rome, hata HIV sio issue. Mimi sijai pona infection yetu herpes na hizo ma HPV na herpes. Now herpes and HPV, viral infections, you don't get healed. Once you get this infection, it's upon your immunity to always make sure they are suppressed to the lowest limit possible. HPV might give you warts, so in as much as, yes, it doesn't look really good on you, most of the time usually doesn't give you anything serious. Apart from we have HPV strains that usually give ladies, even men, you can get them same strain. You get the infection, you get cervical cancer. So from HPV, you have strains for HPV. But for herpes, we have two types. You have type 1 and type 2. Type 1 usually affect the one that people usually call cold sores, usually affect your lips. They also have type 2, which usually affect your genitals. So once you get that infection, it's always going to be there. So type 1 that usually affect the lips, is mostly you don't get that most of the time sexually. You can just get that from exposure to another person with the same. Once you get herpes, it usually hides in immunoprivileged areas where your immune system will not get to. So once you get that infection, then you just stay with it forever. Your immune system will be the one that will be suppressing that forever. Kuna huyu amesema chances are hatujawapea ugonjwa. Weke mimi na kuambia vitu tumeconfirm. Okay, I'm not the best when it comes to reading, just bear with me, not just numbers. So one thing you have to understand is not a must that once you get to, or maybe you just go out with someone, you are going to infect them. It might be that maybe your viral load is so low to a point where your chances of infecting them is low. It might be that chances are they are men have a lower chance of getting the infection. It doesn't mean that you cannot get that infection, no. It's only that the anatomy favors men a little bit more, especially if they have undergone circumcision. So you reduce the mucosa. After reducing that, you have lower chances, but you still have chances of getting the infection, so it doesn't discriminate. Although in ladies, because of having a higher surface area when it comes to their mucosa, they have higher chances. So I'm curious, so do you usually, after you go to the person, after you infect them, do you follow up with them to go and test them to confirm whether they got the infection for you to include them in your statistics? Because I don't understand you here. So this is what is making me feel that maybe this is reverse psychology. It's a group of people who just sat down and decided to create a campaign, and it's a good one, though. It's creating fear, which is something that if it works, then I would prefer that one. So just creating fear out there so that people start becoming more responsible for what they are doing. So if you're creating fear to just create that, it's good. Anyway, it's just working because we just want the results. Says an ID. My girlfriend is sick, and since I knew I haven't slept with her. Now what I saw in her phone, they have a group of friends wote wanameza dawa. Sasa mimi sijui vile nitajitoa kwa hii fix. How did she get it? How comes it's all of them? Now, one thing you have to understand is if before you knew you were sleeping with a girl, chances are you might as well be having the best thing for you to do is just go and just get tested. But your girlfriend, if they know that they have HIV, and you also have the clue of you have the fact that they have HIV, and they give it to you deliberately, they're having sex with you, they're intimate with you, and they have HIV, and they know very well, so you can just go and tell her. So the guy is wondering vile atajitoa kwa hii fix. It's easy. So jitoa, because it's your health. Are you planning to just stay there and just acquire the infection? If you've been using the protection the way it's supposed to, even though you have increased chances of getting the infection, in as much as, yes, when you know someone is infected, you get let's say you are more aware of when you're doing the activities, so you're very aware when it comes to the protection. So I would wish you go get tested, and from there you make sure that you either break it or maybe you just stay away from this. D, najua of a guy who intentionally cut himself, and he makes sure amekukata slightly ati by mistake, na he gets you drunk, alafu hata hakulali, anakukata, anajikata, damu zenu, I'm assuming ni damu zenu zigusane, na he pays you in the morning. Unashindwa ni nini? Now, this is a weird one. My hubby got infected, but I and my son survived. We are negative. Hiyo nayo alitoa Lumumba. So there is no any specific point where you can get HIV. You can get it from anywhere. Even in the moon, you can just get HIV from any corner. One thing I want you to understand is if you got your son before the husband got infected, chances are very, very extremely low that their local interaction in the house can transmit that infection to them. But when it comes to you, it's high chance you go get tested, because you might be among the few that usually stay with the infection for long before they start showing the signs. So the best way, go to a proper hospital with a test that we call ELISA or PCR and get tested for the same, so that you get to be sure whether you are having that infection or not. Hawa ni wale wa I take life insurance on your behalf. I buy you a car, they finish you in an accident, and they are compensated well. Na hizo gari pia wanalipwa because they are under comprehensive insurance. Now there's something I want, okay, I'm not going to talk about this one. I think we should make a video about insurance and some of the scams around the insurance. I think this is something that you should just make sure that you are subscribed for, because I think it's something we need to talk about. Kuna post ingine Twitter ya Edgar, waambia waiangalia, ni relatable kabisa. It's business they are doing, na wana target from age 19 to 25 hapo mostly. So watch out. I'm thinking this is about the insurance, where they take insurance and then get compensated after an accident, the life assurance. I think we're going to talk about that in the future. Mnaongea about HIV as if it's something big. Mezeni madawa ladies. Mimi nimemeza zangu na mtu alinipea, tumekubali status tukapendana. This is the best thing you can do. If you so happen to find that you are positive, just go and accept the situation. Go take ARVs. They're out there. They are free of charge. You get tested. After every 6 months, you check whether the drugs are working perfectly for you. Everything is free of charge. So just go get tested and just continue the life as usual. And be accountable when it comes to your sexual life. Hedi, kuna certain Vasha group men, wao huchapa sherehe za easy clubs za Kiambu Road. Na girl, let me tell you something. We found out juzi ni wagonjwa after kupelekwa mansion fulani. Tukaacha kuchokora. Tukaacha kuchokora vitu. Ama ni tukaanza kuchokora vitu. Unajua mikono mrefu, but Kile sielewi, how comes wote ni wagonjwa? Is this the new trend? Cause kila bag ilikuwa na meds. I also don't know. Wait, there is this Italian guy in Nairobi with a bike. Ogopa. Huyo ndo my next target. Kama kuna mtu ako kwa mix, mkulane kabla nifike huko this weekend juu naenda kumambukiza neto Nairobi. How sure are you that they are not HIV positive? How sure are you that they don't have hepatitis? How sure are you that they don't have gonorrhea? How sure are you that they don't have syphilis and any other thing that is going to affect you as negatively as the aims that you have, the target of going and infecting them? What if you just go and get them, they have HIV and some other nasty things, and you end up fetching them, and then that goes against what you thought that you'll do? Just think about it. I found out that I was HIV in 2019 at 19 years. I've never thought of infecting anyone. Hiyo pain, I wouldn't want anyone to go through what I went through hiyo mwaka October. I understood why girls want to infect others, but I can't just do that anyway. My fellow Havians, maybe I'm butchering the name. Wow, I like the name. Tutakuwa sawa. Please don't spread. Yeah, don't actually. It makes everything even bad. So try as much as possible to be good to other people and also to yourself, because in as much as you're going to give it out there, you're also going to get something nasty. Soul ties. There is nothing medical about it, but maybe I'm so interested in this one. Can someone just go to my DM and explain to me, like 2 years old, what soul tie is and how they happen? And I want to know. I'm so much interested in this one. Just give me that information. I want to know. So on this one, this is a very interesting one. So but it's a group of guys sleep with you. They pay you 200,000, and then they tell you to bring friends, and then they pay those friends and they also pay you. And then after they get those other friends, they tell those friends to go and come with other friends, and then the chain keeps on going and growing. I don't know what they're gaining by doing this, but I actually don't understand why you just go out there and dish your friends and just go and just hang them to dry. That's very cruel of you. Hi, I'm HIV positive and I was never taking my medicine because I was ready for anything, nikufe tu ama niishi. So I decided to go out frequently to this club, so I got it. My ass may pop kubwa vizuri. I get the attention a lot, but damn, my God knows, I tried my best to force them to use condom after I feel guilty. He had threesome, or we had threesome, 2 guys, na wote tulifanya roho. Dear Missy Mez madawa. Nipo hivo, na after I told them watumie dawa, wakasema hata sisi ni wagonjwa ndo maana tuogopi. So like I said, yes, you might find someone who also sick, and also you're going to share the strains that you have. You give them the strain that you have, you're also going to acquire the strain they have. If yours is aggressive, they are also going to feel the effect. If theirs is aggressive, you're also going to feel the effect. But all in all, you're going to suffer all along. This one is talking about a club in Mombasa where they're sleeping with white men, and also they are not even afraid of the infection they usually get. So mostly you'd find that mostly around maybe when they go to treat the infections, most of what you're getting are gonorrhea, syphilis, and those other STIs. But also the ladies who are there are not even afraid of HIV, which is something that have come to be. So people are no longer afraid of HIV. So they just don't care anymore because we have drugs and people can live for long. Others are just there. They don't fear HIV because they know I can use PEPs. I'm going to use PrEP in advance, and that partly contributes to the fact that people usually they just go out there and just do it, which is bad. Diskia Juzi too was invited to a birthday party, a private one. Things escalated real quick after everyone getting drunk, and it turned out to a sex party. Kems wacha watu wakulanie partners, na it was raw. As we speak, the lady friend who invited me, she is being treated of herpes na hawezi jua who is who alimpea. Tell me, all the ladies that exchange watakosaje. Now what you want to understand here is we have so many of these things happening in private. You find that there's a private party and they get drunk, and all manners of things happen. You have so many infections which are sexually transmitted, and they're going to go around. You're going to share them and you're going to pass them around. And that's why I usually tell you people is it's usually very important for you, if you're getting drunk, just get drunk in a place where you're safe, both sexually and physically, because they all can contribute. Also, getting drunk is another bad thing because you're also straining your liver and so many other things. So it's usually very important for you to always make sure that you have your health together. So the screenshots are so many. I think maybe you can just watch those ones, and maybe if you didn't get any information, maybe you can go through some of those. You can highlight one for me if you want me to go through that. If you didn't understand anything in them, maybe you can just go through that. But I'm sure you've gotten some information regards to HIV, STIs, other infections, any of those. I hope you got something from this. If you didn't, or maybe you got something that you didn't understand, maybe you can tell me in the comment section, because I'm going to post this in YouTube. Or maybe if you want to get personal, maybe you can get in my DMs, and you can be able to just get there and see whether I can get another video that will explain something better. See you in the next video.